Hey, what's up, GW? Yeah, I just rolled out of bed. Y'all can tell. Um, First of all, first and foremost, I hope everybody had a very good holiday weekend, Memorial Day. Couple things I want to address here. Uh, Basically, on May 20th, we lost one of the coolest actors of our generation. I think, and one of the funniest, George Wendt. George Wendt, most of you know, played the iconic role of Norm in Cheers, and he was on that show, from what I can remember, like the whole run. He also did a few movies that not many people know about. He was also Macaulay Culkin's dad in the music video Black or White, if you guys can remember that. Um, he also did a few dark movies. When I say dark, I mean like psychotic horror films. One of which was King of the Ants. King of the Ants in 2003. That film centered around a drifter coming into town, getting involved with the mob, being tasked to kill somebody, and then the people that have contracted him to kill him turn the tables on him. It was a real violent thriller. A lot of people don't know about it. It was in 2003, as I said. He played a character called Duke Wayne. He also later was on another horror film called VFW. And VFW is a was a 2019 film in which a group of retired army guys, military guys, and that consisted of mostly like B actors. I wouldn't say B actors, but old action heroes, old action actors. Um, and he joined the cast, and the cast consisted of William Sadler, Martin Cove, and Fred Williamson. It also played that guy from Dreamscape, or you guys might remember him better as the Warriors. I can't remember his name right off the bat. The guy's name was David Patrick Kelly. Sorry about that. But he was in that. He was also in the Masters of Horror episode that aired on Showtime called Family. Family is one of the darkest entries um, in the series. Let me just Google it up. Yeah, it was a real dark one. Played Harold Thompson, an episode called Family. Harold's life from the outside of suburbia seems picture perfect. You know, you'd meet him cutting grass, you'd meet him doing this, and he seemed like an all around nice guy. The type of guy that you could smash his mailbox and he would just wave to you. But inside that dark house, he is trying to replicate a family which he never had, and it's very morbid. The neighbors, too, are not who they seem, which makes this episode a gem among the series. In addition to that, he has done numerous. I'm just looking over at his body of work, and my God, he's done uh, everything from Heart to Heart to The Masked Singer. He actually did some theater. He was in some music videos, as I touched on, Black or White. He was also in as Ghostbusters as himself, Black or White as I said, Michael there's the kid's father, Macaulay Culkin's father. Black Gold, Dangerous, a short film. Uh, he played the father. Again, that was the Michael Jackson Black or White segment. Responsibility, played the boss. And he has done a lot of things. Theater, he's done art. He did Hairspray, Elf, and Breakfast at Tiffany's. And just a wonderful guy. Every time he was um, on anything, he seemed like a regular guy, which he portrayed very well. My favorite quote of all time was in Cheers, and He said, it's a dog eat dog world, Sam, and I've got milk bone underwear. And that is just classic. You can't beat that. When I heard he passed, I actually stopped moving. I was in the middle of pouring a drink and I stopped. And I think that a lot of things, I know it shouldn't hit people or stun you as much as they do, but I think whenever you have a connection to somebody or an actor you really like, and you hear that he passed away peacefully in his sleep, by the way, that I think it actually shocks you to the point because you have a connection with these actors. It just stuns you enough to where it makes you stop doing whatever you're doing. So George Wendt will be missed. I don't even know how old he was. Let's see. He was 76 years old. But he, like I said, the one thing about him, he was just a regular man. No matter what movie or what TV show you put him in, he had the traits of just you or I would have. And it almost seemed like he was normal in the acting field. He wasn't trying to portray some super dude or, some arrogant guy. He was a regular guy. He definitely will be missed. So now that we got that out of the way, I want to talk about something else. Most people know I'm a big Night Court fan. John Larroquette, Harry Anderson, and I really loved the original TV show. I even liked how it ended, which was weird. Richard Mole, as Bull. Okay. So when they brought back the remake with Melissa Rauch, I was optimistic. I was skeptical. And in the 3 seasons that it was on, I fell in love with it. They brought back a few characters from the original. But then people got attached to that show. And it was light on the comedy. It really was. But it was cool to see, they did a few things. They had like a Big Bang Theory crossover. And they, like I said, they brought back people from the original. And it was great. And NBC decided not to renew it because of they were pursuing new program options. Yay. Well, that's great. And I'm glad for NBC to do that, but here's the problem. That show was just finding its footing. And I would stop everything whenever it was on. And they switched the time frame. It was on from 8 to 8:30, then they moved it from 8:30 to 9, which was a stupid move. You fell in love with some of the people, and the stories were flat out silly to say the least. But there was something there. There was charm. There was Melissa Rauch. You had crossovers again, like I said, from the Big Bang Theory cast. You had stories not as great as what was in the original series, but they were finding their own footing, and some of them, didn't hit the mark, but they were all enjoyably watchable. It treaded on silliness to very light comedy, but again, it was finding its footing. You need to give something at least 4 to 5 seasons for it to actually evolve. And then they canceled it, and I'm really, really upset about this. I mean, NBC has really never, in my mind, canceled something like this early and has made me that upset. I still have Peacock, I'm not going to lie. I still watch some of their program, but I am very, very disappointed that Night Court was canceled. Especially when you look at it, how they went from the original. They incorporated Melissa Rauch, like I said, as Harry Anderson's daughter. and they dealt with all kinds of stuff, and it was actually good. They even had the cast was really good. It was really a great cast, and let's see if I can. Starred Melissa Rauch as Abby Stone, obviously. John Larroquette, Lucretia. I think that was their answer to Marsha Warfield. Wendy Malick. Wendy Malick was cool. She was on an old HBO show called Dream On, which if you guys don't get to check it out, it's great. It's something of a oddity in today to see something like that shot. India de Belfort, Namby. He played the lawyer, I believe. But it was good, and even like the old cast was not afraid to come back. The only thing that I think could have changed it is if that Richard Mole, well, he passed away, and so did Marky Post. But if they were alive and they were actually able to come on the show, it might boost them ratings. But the show was really good. I really enjoyed it, and so did millions of other people. But for them to cancel it and say we need to make room for more programming, all you had to do was reschedule the program. I mean, so I just wanted to vent about that because my favorite show, at least the original, if you go back, you can buy all the seasons on Amazon. They had some real good ones, and there's too many good episodes to talk about here. So, but it will be. I think it's going to stay on Peacock. I do not see a DVD release of this season, the new reboot. I don't see it, but it's on Peacock, and I hope everyone goes out and enjoys it, and I hope NBC gets flooded with letters, and maybe they can change their mind. So there's that. And then I want to talk about one more thing, television, and we're going to jump in because I owe you guys a Sorority House Massacre movie review. So I want to talk about the finale of The Conners. And what happened, I think, to basically make it end the way it did. So let's go back to before The Conners started. Roseanne had got rebooted, and it was great, and it captured the spirit of the original. And Roseanne was accused of racist tweets and pulled off the show. I think toward the end of the first season. I think, yeah, it was the first season of the reboot. She was trading shots with a girl named Valerie Jarrett, and basically, in my mind, it's just like when you're at work. When you're at work, you conduct yourself accordingly. When you're out of work, you can say and do whatever. I do. Most people don't have a problem with that. However, ABC decided to look the other way. So, barring one of the deals she made to keep the rest of the Connor clan working, John Goodman, Lacey Granson, Michael Fishman, she let them, because I think she had sole control over the property, the characters, and whatnot. She let them work, and they did a good job. And once the dust settled, it seemed like there were rumors that ABC was going to call Roseanne back to play the ghost of Roseanne Connor. That was the rumor. And they could never reach an agreement, or Roseanne just basically didn't want to come back. And I understand that. So to make a long story short, in the Conners, when the Conners started, Roseanne is dead. She died of an opioid overdose. The whole point of the last episode or the last season was for them to get closure on this big pharmaceutical company who has prescribe these pills without knowing the danger of these pills. And it's little dude going against big corporation, basically. There was a lot of storylines that some of which were silly, some of which never got tied up in loose ends, and some of which were just thrown to the wayside. Like we're watching it, my wife goes, they never mentioned anything about this baby Jerry, who was in Roseanne. Go back and look him up. Michael Fishman just disappeared off the face of the earth. His wife in the show and his daughter, they never showed. So it was a one direction finale. It was a two-parter where Dan was going to try to sue the opioid company. And you would think that have all this family has been through, much like the Bundys before them, you would think that something would happen to change their lives. In fact, some of the commercials that ABC had pushed out made you believe that they were going to end up very, very, very happy, and not be on the poverty line, which was the running joke from Roseanne. That didn't happen. That didn't happen because, in typical big corporation fashion, they find out, they get this check, which is supposed to be millions of dollars because of Roseanne's life. Dan pushed very hard to prove his point, which he was a little reluctant. And I'm going to go into spoilers here, but Jackie's character, or Jackie on the show, pushed him to sue. So Dan goes ahead and sues because basically he can't let his wife die in vain, right? So the finale features the entire family at Roseanne's grave, which is something that I looked at, and you know what? They should have shown it more. Because the only qualm I got about the Connors is that Dan missed his wife so bad. You should have visited his grave. We should have seen that scene prior to this scene where Dan is basically talking to Rosie and telling him about his life. We missed that. It could have turned into something really emotional, but ABC was like, nah, we'll just show the grave at the end of the thing. So all the current co-stars are standing over the grave. And they open this check up, and it's not what they imagined. I'm just going to put it that way. After that somber scene, they're back in the kitchen. Everybody's like, we're going to bed. John Goodman looks directly at the camera and goes, good night. He broke the fourth wall. That was his idea. It was a weird finale because, like I said, only a few shoestring storylines were tied up. You don't know what's going on. There was so much going on in that show that they could have tied up something or gave them a better ending. But when I read about the finale, they wanted to show family resilience against problems. And it shows money does not create happiness, family does. So I guess in that respect, they did what they set out to do. But it's just a really weird thing, It's a really weird sort of finale. I don't know how to even grade it because it all seems so abrupt. In the season was 6 episodes? So I don't know. I just felt weird about the whole thing. It's like Cheers, when Sam Malone goes up, walks out and shuts the lights off. I mean, that's how it ends. So I guess maybe people don't know how to end things or span them out to where everybody's happy. I don't know. So, in addition to that, if you're looking for something gritty and you have HBO Max, you guys got to watch The Righteous Gemstones. It is amazing. Danny McBride, John Goodman, very profane, very absurd, very addictive show. I've been watching it nonstop, almost through the first season. So, check that out. But I wanted to address those things because I realized I never did talk about them. So we're going to get into Sorority House Massacre, and I'll be right back. So go get some chips or something. All right. Sorority House Massacre was from 1985, came out on video in 86, transported to 4K just about, I'd say, a couple months ago. So, what is this movie about? Should I watch this, and is it worth it? Well, the question is how much you love 80s horror, 80s style horror. Sorority House Massacre has a slasher vibe to it, but it's very light on the slashing elements. It is basically it was directed by Carol Frank, and it stars Angela O'Neill, Wendy Martell, and Pamela Ross, and Nicole Rio. Now, what is it about? It follows a sorority pledge who experiences bouts of deja vu about something that happened when she was a kid. Um, yeah, she experiences deja vu in a sorority house when a murderer begins killing the residents over Memorial Day weekend. Oh, perfect. I didn't know that. I only watched it once, guys, and I was half asleep. Well, twice. It is the first film in the Sorority House Massacre trilogy. Basically a spin-off of the Slumber Party Massacre, and the second film in the Massacre franchise. So, what goes on here? When Beth is a little girl, her brother Billy tries to kill her. Years later, I'm just going to summarize this. Years later, he breaks out of the institution he was in and sets his sights on the sorority and the people in it. As far as blood and gore goes, there's not really too many. There's a few topless scenes, I'm not going to lie. This is interesting. This is one of the reasons I have this movie, is because it had its world premiere in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Think of that. It went on to acquire a cult following. It's been credited too much to Halloween. It says it ripped Halloween off. Um, let's see. It actually got another release, and the extended VHS UK cut. This one, I haven't watched it yet, but it has more scenes and apparently more story to it. It did have a sequel, and like I said, it drew a lot of comparisons to Carpenter's Halloween. And it was coming soon praised the characters, adding that the director is a smart filmmaker who builds upon mapped out murders by marring them with rich character design for each of best friends who cop it. And that's why the film succeeds in being a dead teenager movie. But you care about it and you value it. Okay. Uh, Jason Paul Collum wrote a book called Assault on the Killer Bees, an interview with 20 cult film actresses. The film visually features more in common with such films as Black Christmas and Nightmare on Elm Street, calling it artistically directed. Rotten Tomatoes holds it at a 0 approval rating. Yeah, okay. I mean, it's a fun slasher, and the good thing is, as bland, it's not bland, but as light on the slashing elements. And I bet you if you watch this a couple of times, you'll see different things because I didn't. It is a short runtime. I think it's like 85 minutes, maybe 80 minutes. Not sure. 74 minutes. I mean, in that respect, it works. There was a sequel, Sorority House Massacre 2. I do not believe that there was a connection there between the first and second movie. I'm going to look now. Yeah, I don't. No, I think it's the same sorority, but I think it's a different villain. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, the second one was directed by Jim Wynorski, and it had a lot more topless theatrics. It went more sexual, more gory, and it was a pretty decent movie. But yeah, the Sorority House Massacre, it does work in a Halloween sort of way. And yes, it's got topless chicks. Yes, it's got some creative kills, but they're all stabbings, if I can remember right. Maybe a gunshot. Profanity is to the minimum. The killer is somebody that had should have had more backstory, but he does work. And remind you, this is an '80s movie. Anything can happen. The characters are goofy, some of which got their head in the gutter. But Shout Factory has lovingly put this out, and like I said, check out the UK cut. This is until this 4K edition came out. This video was priced at like 100, 199, $230 in some places. The Blu-ray is completely out of print. You can't find it, which I'm glad they put it back in the Blu-ray because I think the Blu-ray was $70 by itself. But definitely a throwback to the '80s. It's one I'd watch on a rainy day. I'm not gonna lie. So I just wanted to touch on those things, and I wanted to give a big shout out. Oh, I know what I got to do. So now that we've got through all that, I want to say congratulations to Amanda Cushing and Brienne Bavard. Brienne Bavard is a coworker of mine, and she just recently got engaged, like yesterday. So I hope, Brie, you keep him under control. I've known Brie. Brie's like a sister to me, a work sister. And she knows my wife very well, and she's a wonderful person, and I hope she has a lot of wonderful moments with her being engaged and her boyfriend. And Amanda Cushing, I'd like to say thank you, excuse me, for everything that you've done for Dawn and I. Amanda went to go home and be a full-time mom, so she doesn't work at the governmental facility that I work in. And I remember her last day, which was earlier last week, 2 weeks ago. And I gave her a hug and she cried. And she said, she said, this isn't goodbye. And I know it's not. But Amanda, you got a responsibility as mom first. You can deal with all of us crap second, you know what I mean? But I was walking past where you sat and seeing how empty it was. And just wondered what would, missed you being in there in the chair. I just wanted to say that. So congratulations to Brienne. Congratulations to Amanda. But I just wanted to, like I said, more or less get that off my chest. I know I haven't been on here for a while, and I'm sorry. I mean, we've done some home renovations, we've had some personal issues go on. And I felt like if I didn't get out of bed, first thing on my mind jumping, yeah, I look like crap, whatever, that I might forget. And we've got some things to do today, and I didn't want to forget because you guys always tell me, the people at work always tell me about how cool my videos are, or they hear about like Sorority House Massacre, check it out and say, Gary, that was all right. And one more thing, I was playing since we had some vacation time. I've been playing Redfall on Game Pass. I don't understand the hate. I get it. It's crazy. It's wonky. It's a little bit glitchy, but it's a fun time. I don't understand why people. Now, I didn't play it at launch, but I play it now, and you know what? I'm like, I don't know, 3, 4 hours in, I'm having a blast. You know, so I really enjoy the game. I know why other people don't, I guess, but playing solo is great. But yeah, like I said, I just wanted to touch on that. New Doom game is awesome. I beat it already. I'm a sucker for ID games. Everybody knows that. I've been playing those since I was 6 with Wolfenstein. The pixelated one where you kill Hitler. That was great. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to address those few things. Give you this movie review. Haven't watched anything too crazy lately. Like I said, The Righteous Gemstones is pretty awesome. So check that out. I'm going to go get coffee and get up. And whatever you guys do today, rock it. See ya.